If you could have only one lucid dream, let's say 15 minutes maximum, and that's all you're ever going to have, that's your one and only final lucid dream, what would you choose to dream about? Now, let's assume that dream control is perfect. You can do and dream whatever you want to dream. What would you pick? Now, today's video is going to be kind of along those lines. I've been thinking a lot recently about if I could only make one video on lucid dreaming, what would it say? What would I get out there if I only had that one chance? And I think sometimes limiting yourself highlights what really matters to you, the things that drive you. Oftentimes we get distracted by choice. We have this illusion that life is this open book with a near infinite amount of things you can do. But when you squeeze things down into that precise kind of choice, then you really have to think. So this is my attempt to make a video saying the things I really want to say about lucid dreaming. And it's not easy at all, but I think it's important. So I guess the first thing that I think really needs to be said is that lucid dreaming isn't for everyone. It's just not. In the same way that a holiday to Paris isn't for everyone and skydiving isn't for everyone. It takes a certain kind of personality, or maybe lots of types of personalities, but there's a limited pool of those, to give people the persistence to stick with this. Because lucid dreaming isn't easy. And I know, before I go any further, this channel has lots of titles of things like the easy lucid dreaming technique and all of that kind of thing, but that's an artifact of YouTube itself. I can't stand clickbait any more than you can, but what I have learnt over the years doing lucid dream YouTubing for 8 or 9 years now is that if you don't write that in a title, people don't watch it. But the truth is, it absolutely isn't easy, and most people aren't cut out for it. Most people think lucid dreaming is something different from what it actually is. So, what kind of person persists with lucid dreaming? Now, I don't want to oversimplify this because I certainly don't have all the answers, but one thing I've noticed is that it's people who don't attach the idea of a result to lucid dreaming. It's that first question we asked, if you could do anything in a lucid dream, what would you do? The kinds of people who persist are normally the kinds of people who would use it for some kind of deeper philosophical choice. They would use that dream to question the nature of their reality, the nature of self and consciousness. And the people who would choose some kind of goal, some kind of very specific outcome, they tend to be the people who fall by the wayside. And that's not to say that lucid dreaming can't be used as a casual interest and you can't explore specific goals or wish fulfillment, because you obviously can, and many people do that. But those people very rarely become long-term lucid dreamers who master the subject. Not that there's any true mastery, because it's such a complex subject. And probably the main reason for that is one of the first things that trying to lucid dream will teach you is that you're kind of stupid. You're a lot more stupid than you thought you were, and it throws you into this existential kind of humility where you question the nature of your own consciousness and awareness and how your mind works, and you're asked to do some quite simple things, notice things in your life and respond in a certain way. And you suddenly realize that even though that sounds like an incredibly easy task, you're absolutely rubbish at it and you miss more than you catch. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with feeling stupid or feeling bad at something. And I think unless you have some kind of deeper need to explore the nature of self, that can make many people unravel very quickly. It stops being a subject that makes you feel good about yourself, and more often than not, you're spending a lot of time doing something you're not very good at, getting very few results other than feeling a little bit dumb. So, the kinds of people who succeed in the long run are really more explorers. They're not facing this subject with a set of expectations to achieve. They're essentially going, "This sounds interesting, and I want to see what it brings." And then, when you have these insights into your own inabilities, your own stupidities, your own lack of awareness, they're not slaps in the face. Then suddenly, they're interesting lessons you've learnt on the journey into your mind. But if you come at this subject thinking, I want to be a god in dream space, and I practice meditation, so I'm already aware, and then you're given this rather simple set of instructions for lucid dreams, and you realize that you can't do them. And where's the fun in that? Because nobody wants to feel stupid. Nobody wants to confront their blind spots, and certainly nobody wants the foundations of their sense of self to be pulled from under them. But that's what lucid dreaming will do when you realize that it's not easy. And why isn't it easy? Because you are incredibly complicated. That very first question I asked at the beginning of this video, what would you do if you could only have one lucid dream? Hopefully some of you have shared that in the comments, but one thing we can guarantee is that no two people are going to write exactly the same thing, because no two brains, no two identities are identical. And that's the problem with lucid dreaming. But it's not really a problem. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to explore the nature of you. Lucid dreaming is complicated because you are absolutely unique. Your psychology is absolutely unique. The way you sleep, the way you think, the way you notice is utterly unique to you. There are some crossovers between individuals because we're all the same species, but lucid dreaming has to be tailored to your mind, and the only way to do that is to move through that. And to move through it, you need to start to honestly and humbly recognize your weaknesses. Because if anything, lucid dreaming is recognizing your weaknesses and then trying to patch them, trying to fix the limits in your awareness. So imagine for a moment you're an explorer. Let's go crazy and say you've got your own spaceship and you can go exploring space. And you fly out hundreds of light years and you find an interesting looking planet. And you're about to land. What's the one thing you absolutely don't have for that planet? Well, you don't have a map. You don't have a set of instructions as to where to find the interesting things. Because that's not exploring. If you did have a map, well, then you're a tourist. It means there is nothing to explore. Everything has been understood. But lucid dreaming is a subject for explorers because the universe of your mind hasn't been mapped. And that's lucid dreaming in a nutshell, because this subject requires you to have the soul of an explorer, the tolerance of an explorer, the ability to deal with the unknown. But many people come to lucid dreaming expecting to have a map. And that's why techniques are so popular, right? Because techniques are basically, here's a map to get to your destination. But that makes no sense, because nobody has ever been lucid in your mind before. Nobody has explored the corridors of your consciousness. That's unique to you. You cannot have a map to your mind unless you create one yourself. And this is where the paradox that haunts every lucid dreaming teacher rears its ugly head. Because you can't teach lucid dreaming in the same way you can teach cooking or driving, because those are very simple tasks. There's a certain set of finite rules. Whereas with human consciousness, you're dealing with near infinity. The variables go through the roof. As a lucid dreaming teacher, the best you can do is to point in a direction and say, well, this worked for me when I was exploring my mind. And the more you do that, and the more students you have, the more information you gather. You meet thousands of would-be lucid dreamers, and you notice their struggles, and some of those form patterns. There are little clusters of, well, yep, some people have insomnia, and some people fall asleep too quickly, and that sort of thing. So your map as a teacher becomes a little bit high resolution, but you're still only ever pointing vaguely in a direction, because the universe of your mind has never been mapped. And this creates a weird dilemma for anyone who wants to teach lucid dreaming or create content about lucid dreaming, and it's very similar to that clickbait issue we talked about earlier. Every YouTuber knows, or any experienced YouTuber knows, that people watch videos with dramatic titles. That's what works, and you want your video to be watched, therefore you kind of get funneled into clickbait. You have no choice. It's either that or be irrelevant. Now, the same thing happens to lucid dreaming teachers, because people respond to confidence. It's hardwired into primate psychology. If someone says something with confidence, it feels more true, it's more trustworthy. But when people start to say things like, well, maybe this, or you might find that, then you start to doubt whether they're actually talking, whether they know what they're talking about at all. So lucid dreaming teachers end up saying more and more confident statements about lucid dreaming because that's what people respond to, that's what people want to hear. They're kind of hacking primate psychology, but it has a problem because it leads people astray and it gives people expectations about this subject that absolutely can't be true for everyone. So, some lucid dreaming teachers might make the claim that lucid dreaming could be used to heal you, or lucid dreaming can be used for creativity, or lucid dreaming can help you to understand past traumas. But we don't know that for certain. That might be true for some people, it might not for others. In fact, we don't even know whether everyone can lucid dream. There literally isn't evidence to be able to make that claim confidently. There's really no claim you can make about lucid dreaming that you can state with absolute confidence, but people demand and respond to confidence. It's very easy to book your ticket to the resort with the lucid dreaming workshop where it's promising you that you will have lucid dreams every night and you'll be able to use those lucid dreams to heal your shadow self or whatever claims someone is making. That sounds good. That sounds neat and tidy. But the mind and the universe are not neat and tidy. They are wild. They are feral. You are an expression of the universe that nobody else understands. Your dreams are the weeds and flowers and fauna and wildlife of the universe running wild. There are no simple answers. And I think I have to correct myself because there is one statement you can make about lucid dreaming and the exploration of your mind that is true, and that is that it will be interesting. You will have insights into something. That is one thing you can guarantee if you follow this path. And that's the guarantee that explorers have, right? Any explorer doesn't know what they're going to discover, but they know they will discover something. And unfortunately, although I think fortunately, it gets even messier than that. Because even the concept of a lucid dream is a category. There are dreams and there are lucid dreams. How neat, how binary, how perfect. But the moment you set foot into the nature of the mysteries of consciousness and the mind, that binary soon dissolves into a spectrum, a multi-layered spectrum that's almost impossible to grasp. Because there are some dreams where you know that you're dreaming, but you don't feel present. And there are other dreams where you're very, very clear-minded. You're really there, but you can't control anything. There are other dreams where you can control everything. You know that you're dreaming, but when you reflect back on it, you didn't really feel that that was a lucid dream. Maybe it was a dream about a lucid dream. The list goes on because the brain, billions of neurons, many, many different functions, all firing at different levels of activity. No two lucid dreams are the same. No two dreams are the same. And I think that's fortunate because that's the nature of exploration. That's the nature of discovery. If you want to be a lucid dreamer, then cling to the concept of discovery and exploration. Treat every step in the journey, every frustration, as a lesson, as an insight, as something you can work with. If I had to define what I consider to be the biggest problem with lucid dreaming as a subject, it would be that it's become a caricature of itself. It's this very simplified and false representation of a subject which is far broader than that caricature can contain. And the problem is, you have a lot of people sharing the caricature and a lot of people chasing the caricature as a goal and judging themselves against it. And then when their reality, when their actual journey doesn't match the caricature, they're not having quick and easy lucid dreams, and they're not having the healing or the creativity or the ability to practice skills, or you name whatever the caricature claims lucid dreaming is. When they don't have those things, they judge themselves harshly rather than realize they were chasing a fiction. And if they stopped chasing the fiction and instead looked at their mind and looked at dreams on its terms, on their terms, then everything changes. A true dream explorer listens to their dreams, observes them, learns from them. They do not project expectations onto it. A projected expectation is a blindfold. It stops you seeing what is true. So there's this fun little word that lucid dreamers use to define themselves. It's a neuronaut. And it literally translates to dream sailor. And it's the perfect word for this subject. If you think of yourself as a sailor, setting sail on the unknown ocean of dreams, ready to discover whatever happens, learning from the ocean, learning from the weather conditions, adapting as you travel. Then you are a lucid dreamer. Then this subject becomes a lifelong exploration into the nature of mind and self on its terms. And then when you start to think in those terms, lucid dreaming isn't this weird little quirk of the mind. It's just another interesting corridor in the strange journey of life, because we're all explorers, right? We all pop into existence in a strange universe, warts and all, with our good sides, our bad sides, our regrets, and the things we're proud of, and we slowly step forward into an unknown future, exploring and learning all the way. And dreams are just another path where you can take that journey. A really interesting, fascinating part, because you're stepping inwards into the nature of who you are. But if you want to learn from that journey, then open your eyes, pay attention, listen to them, listen to your dreams. What are they saying? Try to take your expectations, that caricature of lucid dreaming, and throw it away. You are stepping into the universe of your dreams, and you will learn the lessons unique to you. So yeah, if I think there was only one video I could make on lucid dreaming right now, this would be that video. And it's made possible by those who are generous enough to be my channel members, especially my channel benefactors, so thank you to Murat Yilmaz, Command Baker, and Rock Geezer. And if you want to help support the channel, click the join button and become a channel member. And if you want to learn more about lucid dreaming, try watching one of the videos on the screen right now. I'll see you there.